Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 13 of BHD Sports Podcast. I'm doing the introduction today, and as you can see, we got the Colorado Avalanche jersey, the Nathan MacKinnon jersey I got. This comes straight from China that my grandpa bought for about $30. And I think half the jerseys that I got are from the other side of the seas. But if you look on the back of the jersey here, they
Hey,
got
dog.
Nate Dog, but the last name is in the arch there. So I had a St. Louis jersey that it was funny. I actually donated it to an auction once, and it had hockey, like Tampa Bay Hockey Club, on the little like crest on the shoulder patch, and it had hockey spelt wrong on it. And
That's
I was
amazing.
like, oh my goodness, I gotta pull this from the auction. I can't sell this thing anymore. But gentlemen, how you doing? We'll check in with each one of you. Chris Baxter, your school semester's finished up. You're getting ready for the summer, so you're starting to get a bit of a tan.
That's right, buddy. Just on kicking it old school, just relaxing. This is the first week of summer. Super excited that the school year is another successful school year in the books, and looking forward to the summer and everything that comes with it, whether it's weddings and parties and all that good stuff. And Hemi, you look great, buddy, in that Avs colors, man. I mean, are they taking a spot for your Bruins or what? I mean,
Oh, they'll never take
I
the spot from
know,
my Bruins,
I
but
know, it's worth a
you,
shot
you,
though.
you gotta respect Colorado. I mean, I did pick Colorado from our playoff pool that we have that win. Now I did get my ass kicked the rest of the way. Thank you, Braden Point, for getting injured and sending a couple sewer bombs my way with Marchand getting out on that first round. I mean, I picked way across the board, but we got the gorgeous Adam Denny here. How you doing, buddy? I mean, you're always Bruins faithful, no matter what. You always got the flag up there.
Yeah, I think the gorgeous part pushing it, but other than that, yeah,
Gorgeous
not
on
too.
the inside. How about that?
Yeah, you're still pushing it, but that's
Beautiful inside and out.
all right, buddy. Thanks, man. I
No
appreciate that.
worries.
But you know what? I'm doing all right. Everything in Mission Marks at Bowman, we're trying to get volunteers. Um, Everything in life is just it's going well. Like we're doing what are we 13 deep now? Holy shit, boys! Like
Yeah, we're
let's
13
go.
deep. That's I mean, that's pretty well. I mean, the summer is always a busy time for all three of us between for me, dead heat of competition season, Chris, dead heat of wedding season.
That's right, buddy. That's
And
right. And Hemi,
then
Hemi,
yeah,
you just
buddy.
got back from the trip from Montreal, buddy. Tell us,
I
tell
did.
us a
I
little
got
bit about your
back from
trip. You
yeah,
came home with some
I've
hardware.
yeah, it was Montreal was a good set of trials. I mean, it was all the races were pretty close. It was selection for World Championships. I already had my spot from that I qualified for World Cups, which I don't even know if we even had a chance to kind of dive into all that. But I mean, yeah, it's I've done a lot of travel. I mean, I feel like since we started this podcast, I've barely been home the whole time. But Montreal's I love the city of Montreal. It's my first time back in 3 years, where it's a yearly race course for me. Like we usually race there once a year. I was there 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then first time back. But really love racing in Montreal. You like just the downtown's awesome. You take the subway everywhere. Reuben smoked meat sandwiches, can't go wrong there. The poutine, and I actually got to see my first CFL game. So got to see the Alouettes kick this shit out of the Rough Riders. I didn't know what to expect going into a CFL game, but the first play, it was a Alouettes home opener, and it was a kickoff return for a touchdown.
What
First
a
play, 88 yards, and I was like, "All right, this is gonna be a show. Their boys are ready to play."
That's an electric way to start a football game. Hey, taking it to the house.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I really think that the CFL product is way more entertaining live. It really is. I mean, I think we talked in an earlier episode, probably like our last in-house episode that we had about whether we think a CFL team could like support itself in Atlantic, Canada. I really think that we need CFL here. Like, I mean, I think Halifax would soak it all in. The atmosphere is awesome. Like, I mean, like Montreal's only got a stadium of 20,000 fans. Like, I think we could easily support that for whatever it is, 8, 9 games a year. But holy, was that a lot of fun. And I'd be like, yeah, this would be awesome in Halifax.
Yeah, I agree. I think just like Halifax knows how to host big events, man. I mean, you name it in any sport, whether it's hosting the World Juniors, Mem Cup, stuff like that. I think that we have the fan base to support a team, and you make it a party, you make it an event where people can go out and they can cheer their face off and have a couple drinks with their buds all day long. Like I think that anyone in Atlantic, Canada is going to pay to go watch a football game and hang out with their friends and just celebrate the beauty of sports, which is
Exactly.
going
Yeah.
out and supporting your local team. So I agree. I would love to see it at some point, and hopefully we can take steps to move towards that, because I think it's something that definitely Halifax can handle, and I think we'd thrive in it too. So
Prime example, boys, is we host the Memorial Cup in 2019. Acadia University, probably the smallest town in Nova Scotia, hosted the U Sports Championship for men's hockey this year. And we're getting World Juniors next year, splitting with Moncton. So
that's gonna be a
That's
quite
gonna
the
be
party, man.
hell of a show. And
I mean, I go back to 2003. I was a young buck back then, and I remember going to those games, and it was just like that. The rink, stepping in the rink, like you could just feel the electricity going through that building. Like there was nothing like it. I've been to some pretty intense Moose games and stuff like that at Scotiabank, but just cheering for your country and cheering for your home country players, like it was incredible. So I really hope I can get my hands on some tickets. I know that they're going to be a hot commodity come this December, but
yeah, seriously.
I know people are probably, I heard that the Moose were, giving out to season tickets holders were getting first dibs, and that probably is a smart business plan, because what a lot of people are going to say, give me the 15 pack and
Yeah,
I'll get first
exactly.
dibs at the Moose game or at the World Junior game. So it's going to be quite the party, and I think Adam's got that idea. Do you, buddy?
Oh yeah.
yeah. This cat wasn't born yesterday. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
No, you're definitely not, buddy.
Yeah.
Far
Well,
from
boys, we got a good list of topics to kind of go through here. I mean, let's we might as well just tee her off with Stanley Cup playoffs here. I mean, Colorado, like Nate Dogg gets his. I think the craziest thing was that like just over a year ago when he said, "I've been in the league for 9 years and haven't won squat," or whatever he said in that quote. And then the next year, he is just unstoppable. I mean, let's chime in on our thoughts here, boys. I know Denny, you what you were all Tampa. Not going to let you off the hook for that one, but I mean, Tampa had a hell of a run of a dynasty, but
you know me. Once everybody's cheering on the bandwagon, like once everybody was on the Colorado bandwagon, I had to jump on the Tampa bandwagon because I have to be different than everybody else. I can't
For sure.
like when Toronto was playing Montreal, I got to cheer for Toronto just to piss Chris off, but that's the only thing I like, just for fun. But other than that, like, can you imagine, like, if you don't respect what Tampa Bay has done in the last 2 years, whether you're a Leaf fan, Habs fan like Baxi is, or Bruins fans like you and I are.
oh yeah, they're a modern day dynasty, really. Like I mean, like you talk about those great Oilers and Islanders teams and the Habs back in the day, but it was a much different league. Like there wasn't the salary, like to win 2 Stanley Cups, go to a third one in a flat cap era with 32 teams and 31 teams. Like that is I mean, it's such an impressive feat. And I mean, it also, I think, seeing how, like we're all saying how impressive Tampa was, I think a lot of us really kind of overlooked how great that back-to-back Stanley Cups for Pittsburgh was. And and that was like, people are saying like, oh, is Crosby, Malkin, and Letang past their time? I mean, there's talk that they might let Malkin and Letang walk in free agency. I don't know if Ron Hextall's secretly working for the Flyers, but I can't imagine Penguins fans being too happy about that one.
No.
But,
I mean, my takeaway from it was just the two top teams. I don't think you could have written a better ending than what happened. For Tampa, kudos to them. What you guys accomplished over the past couple of years is nothing short of remarkable. To have the ability to battle your way through playoff round after playoff round when everyone knows that you're the team to beat, and you guys are the marked guys, and you go out and you made it to 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row. 3. Like, guys would give their left fucking nut to go to 1 cup final, let alone 3 in a row. Like, man, kudos to Tampa. But in the same way, I'm thrilled for Nate Dogg and the rest of the Avalanche. You look at Landeskog, you look at Mikko Rantanen, you look at Eric Johnson, and of course, Nate, guys that have been there for so long and have really felt the lows and have come up short a lot of years that they were expected to go far. And for Nate to step up and say that last year and say, I haven't won squat, I think, that just, he took that on and he put it on his shoulders and he said, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to give it the best year I have had. And he put the team on his back. But what a team from top to bottom, where you look at Nichushkin and Kadri was dominant, and all those guys that were battling. I know that the Tampa Bay guys were battling too. And you look at the list of injuries that came out after, like, how are these guys moving around on the ice right now? Like,
Nichushkin's foot. Oh my goodness. Like,
did you see the picture of that thing? That thing.
Oh my God. That made me want to throw
damn.
up. That was like, oh my God. I was like, I can't believe that. Well, you saw him. He was in a wheelchair for parts of the parade. Like, I mean, like, the fact that he skated on that, let alone like.
And I read a report too that had said that he was unable to put his skate on without medical attention. He needed medical attention to put his skate on. That's how much pain he was in.
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine
he still went out and he still skated around and was effective on the ice. Like, that just goes to show you that hockey players, I don't care what size, shape, whatever, you guys are the toughest athletes on the planet.
It's a mentality thing. Like, it's just like, it's just so like, it's just like you have a goal in mind, and it doesn't matter how much pain you're in. You're going to do whatever it takes to, like, I mean, seeing guys playing with broken foots and separated shoulders, and like you saw the laundry list after the playoffs of all the injuries these guys kind of go through. And I mean, like hockey teams are pretty hush hush when it comes to their injuries. But then they let the whole list go at the end of the season.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's remarkable. It just goes to show you the toughness and the sacrifice and the mental toughness and just your ability to put everything else to the side and work towards with your team, which I think is the biggest thing about it, is these guys are doing it not just for themselves. They're suiting up injured because of their teammates and their love of their team. And I think that is super admirable. And that's why I think hockey's the greatest sport on the planet.
And one thing I was really impressed with, or not, I wouldn't say impressed with, but one thing that really made me happy was the camaraderie between Tampa and Colorado after the game.
Definitely so much respect among those two teams, among each other. They really. I mean, Tampa was a team that was a top team for so many years, that like they were in the Cup final, I think, like in either, was it 14 or 15, was it?
I think it was 15 when Chicago.
And then the like that year where they won the President's Trophy and they broke the record, then they got swept in the first round. Like that core of like Stamkos, Hedman, Kucherov, Vasilevsky, they went through their fair share of adversity too.
Absolutely, for sure. But like, kudos to both teams, because I just thought it was a very entertaining for a guy whose team has been out since January, maybe December.
Since Carey Price went on the LTIR.
Pretty much. But it made a hell of an ending to just a great season of hockey. And there were so many tough teams and so many guys that, emerged as stars. And it was just really, really enjoyable to watch as a fan. So I'm thrilled for Colorado. I can't wait to see the Cup parade in Halifax, and hopefully we'll go see Nate Dogg drinking out of that cup, because he deserves it.
He does deserve it.
He's a beast, and we couldn't be more proud of him, for sure.
Yeah, and just want to move on to one thing here. The St. John Sea Dogs won the Memorial Cup.
Oh yeah, I mean, what an
night.
exciting tournament! Oh my goodness.
And Beaver Bank's own Ryan Francis was part of that team. And I'll tell you a little Ryan Francis story. A couple of years ago, remember when I went down to Sydney a couple of years ago?
Yep.
About 3 weeks before, my buddy John Sear says, "I got something for you from Ryan Francis's father." It was a hockey puck with tape on it. It was an Eagles puck. It said "To Adam" from Ryan Francis, and he gave me an Eagles hat when he played for Cape Breton, and I wore it to the game at Center 200 2 weeks later. And you know what? Really, I just watched the Memorial Cup just to see who wins, right? But I'll go on record and say I am so proud of all these Nova Scotia kids. Like,
Yeah, there was a lot of them on St. John's. So I got the list here. Cam McDonald, Hammond's Plains boy. You got Zach
SMS
Wells
boy right there. Shout out to the Jags.
Brady Burns from Port Williams, and you got Connor Trenholm from Cole Harbor. So I mean, that's the Blue Nose connection right there. Like that's I mean, you got a quarter of your team from Nova Scotia, and I mean, it always kind of pissed me off. They call it the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Like I know most of the teams are there, but I mean, you've looked at where the most successful teams have been, and attendance wise and like product on the ice. Like, I mean, you look at Halifax, St. John, Moncton, like they've Cape Breton at times. Like, I mean, Cape Breton did produce Marc-Andre Fleury. But I mean, like you get a lot of top, and Charlottetown, like they had a hell of a season too. They really turned ship around too.
Yeah. It was a heck of a tournament though. There was a lot of good teams. I really thought that Hamilton was going to pull through at the end, but I think I don't want to attribute it just to this, because I know St. John, you guys deserve to win that tournament. But I felt like Hamilton was a little worn down as the tournament went on. You could tell that had been a team that had just battled through 4 rounds of playoffs.
Yeah. Well, those OHL playoffs, I think, were the tightest. There was a lot of overtime games, a lot of tough series in those OHL playoffs this year.
Yeah.
And I mean, like credit to the St. John coach, Gardner McDougall, coming right in and like taking the team. And really, that's a big challenge. Like I find, like I know when we were coaching CPA during those COVID lockdowns, and there's times where you got a big break between playoffs and provincials. It's really hard to coach when you're not playing games. Like there's only so much you can kind of do in practice.
You got to keep guys engaged, and
exactly
the fact that he had them ready to play the toughest hockey of the year with no games in 38 days, like, and he just came in and wrote the ship, and they
like
pulled it
anyone
out.
Who says that all that rest and all those like time off games like was such a big advantage, they don't know hockey really, because like I mean, I would much rather be playing games all the way leading up to it than having like over a month off of no playing games and having to play in such a like that many games in such a tight span and such a tough tournament.
For sure, I agree.
And I just want to say one thing about Gardner McDougall. He's not just a hell of a coach; he's a hell of a person.
Great leader.
I've had the privilege of meeting Gardner McDougall at a Mooseheads game one night, and I'm sitting over in section 24, and he's over by the concession stand. I'm looking behind me just because that's what I do, right? I look behind me. So that's Gardner McDougal. That's Gardner McDougal. I'm like, I'm gonna go over and talk to him, like, just because I want to meet as many people as big name people as I can when I'm there, right? So I go approach him. I said you don't have to introduce yourself to me. I know exactly who you are. I said you're Gardner McDougal. He's like, you got that right, brother. Yeah, I said I just want to say that you're doing a hell of a job at UNB. I said keep doing what you're doing. I said I don't know what your key to success is, but whatever it is, don't lose it because you got the program on the road to success just again. And
Yeah, they're a powerhouse, man. UMB, they've been a powerhouse for years and years and years, and he's a big part of that leadership group. So
yeah,
kudos to him. Congrats to the Sea Dogs. Want to switch pace a little bit and go to another championship that was won recently. How are you guys feeling about the Golden State Warriors and the trash talk that has come with
Oh my
their win?
goodness.
Like,
I can't listen to Draymond Green anymore, man. He makes me want to rip my ears out. Like,
like I get it. You want to stick it to the people that doubted you. I get it. But like, show a little bit of class, boys.
I know.
Come on, holy shit.
Oh yeah, like I don't understand. Like just like basketball is so different like that. And you know what I will say, like you definitely see it fuel rivalries and like to the point where it's like, okay, like some of these teams have a genuine hatred for each other. Like, but just oh my goodness, like I like especially like Ja Morant and like some of the like the Grizzlies like players, like they're so vocal over social media in terms of like, and I mean, you don't get that in hockey where like you might have Brad Marchand calling out the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, you get a little bit of that every now and then, but when it's done like that in hockey because it's so infrequent, it's like, oh wow, it's a big deal. It's kind of funny, but it seems to be happening so often in basketball now that it just kind of seems just like really annoying. Like it's just, oh my goodness, I just don't like.
And I got to say, I was actually rooting for the Warriors this year. I was not a huge fan of them when they were like this dynasty super team. They had Kevin Durant come in. But this year, I give them credit.
But I always got to give him credit. I mean, Steph Curry brought himself to a whole other level this playoffs. Like, I mean, like I know like those two of those championships, like with Durant and those finals MVPs. And it was like, okay, you have a four-headed monster with Draymond, Clay, Steph, and Durant. But this year, Steph was the guy.
Absolutely. And the thing I love about it too is the team that they had this year. I mean, yeah, they added a couple pieces here and there and stuff, but the core guys,
Canadian guy, huge piece, like
a huge piece for Wiggins, and congrats to him. Like that is huge for,
especially the way he started the year off. Like he started the year kind of controversial because he wouldn't get vaccinated, but like he really like just in the playoffs he grinded down. He was just playing good basketball,
and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
And kudos to them because, like, seriously, they built the majority of their team is built through the draft. You look at Clay and Steph and Draymond. Still, obviously, I know Draymond doesn't shut up, but I mean,
he's a hell of a basketball player.
They all can play, and you know what? I was actually happy to see them win, just to kind of, hey, they are that good, and they are still that good, and it happened this year. It could happen next year too. Like,
and you know what? It cements Steph Curry's legacy too.
And he deserves
it. It really does. And I mean, I think the most valuable piece of that team really is Steve Kerr. Really, like, I mean, the way he's able to put a basketball team together like that, like time and time again. Like, how many championships he's got now? Because he got 3 of the Bulls, 1 of the Spurs, and 4 of Golden State. Like,
yeah, he's an impressive coach and an impressive man. And I actually really had a lot of respect. There was after one of the recent shootings in the States, and it was during the playoffs. I forget what round they were in, and
I think it was against Milwaukee. I think it was.
Yeah. And anyway, they a reporter asked him a question, and he just went off and was just like, I'm not talking about basketball because there are more important issues. And I just, it's kind of scary to see what is going on in the States, but it's guys like that, guys that, understand that there are, there's real life issues, and they want to take a stand for more than just sports.
Exactly.
That's the type of
that's the platform to do it on too.
That's the platform to do it on. You know what? For him to say, guess what, guys? I'm not fucking talking about basketball because right now it shouldn't matter what's going on, because this is going on in our country.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy that wants to make change for the better. And that's the kind of guy I want steering the ship for my team. That's for sure. So kudos to Kerr, and I think he's just an incredible leader, and he's really, they've built a dynasty, and they're still kicking. And so congrats to the Golden State Warriors as well on their recent championship. I think it's big for them.
And the thing too, you know what? I know if any of my Twitter followers are gonna watch this, to be honest with you, I don't feel like, I know the Celtics had a good team, but I don't think they had any business being there, because I'll tell you why. Because I have a theory to this. I watched a couple of Celtics games this year, and they made mistakes after mistake and still won. And honestly, who did they play in the conference final? The Bucks or something, wasn't it? And
Golden State
no, Boston.
Boston. It was Miami, I think, in the.
Right.
I think it was Miami.
Yeah, it was Miami. Yeah, and I thought I said to my buddy Lyle Mailman, I said when Boston played Miami, I said Miami's winning in 6. I was right, but I was wrong with the team. I said, and I was like, why am I predicting things like in sports this year? Because I predicted Boston Bruins to beat Carolina. They choked. I picked Edmonton to beat Colorado. They choked. I picked Tampa to win the Stanley Cup in the Stanley Cup final. They choked.
Key takeaway: don't go to the casino with Adam tonight.
Yeah,
guys.
Exactly.
I know.
You see all those Bet99 apps or all those whatever, all those betting things that you see on the ads and all the annoying Sports Center segments.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is all you need. You want to win money at betting? Whatever Adam says, just do the opposite. That's your betting segment with Cabby or whoever. I hate those segments so much. Man,
oh my.
I'd rather listen to Don Cherry rant on about keeping your stick on the ice for 15 minutes than to listen to those betting segments. So
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have a topic for discussion, because I'm very interested in hearing your boys' opinion on this, and it's actually a golf topic. I mean, I'm seeing lots of stuff. I'll admit I have a good time scrolling through Twitter and just listening to looking at the comments on just kind of controversial subjects. But the LIV Golf Tour kind of competing up with the PGA Tour. I mean, not very often you see it's basically the equivalent to when the WHA was trying to take on the NHL, or the ABA taking on the NBA. It's that kind of moment. The difference is they got billions of dollars.
They got the money.
They got
the money.
They got the money behind that venture. But I mean, you're even starting to see, I think the number 2 amateur just signed on to the LIV Golf Tour. You're that first group of guys. When I saw that first group of guys, I was like, all right, I mean, there's some bigger names there, but bigger names from 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, Dustin Johnson was obviously the big fish, Phil was like, he won the PGA the year before, but he's kind of on the decline of his career. Like Sergio Garcia, like Louis Usyk, like past major winners, but weren't top end guys in golf. But then when you saw like Koepka and like
oh man,
DeChambeau,
that's a big one to lose.
Like Patrick Reed, like you're seeing some bigger names kind of go over there and some younger guys, and you'll be like, okay, like I think it's time to take this tour serious. What's kind of your guys' thoughts on the whole tour in general and how it kind of fits in?
I mean, for me, I grew up following the PGA Tour, and then you know what, I always thought that was, the creme of the creme when it comes to golfing was, you want to make the PGA Tour, but in sports as in life, things develop, some things get better, some things fade out. If this live golf is the new, if they're throwing the kind of money around that they have in their back pocket, I think it's the end of I think it's, going to be the end of the PGA Tour eventually. Like, to lose names like that they've lost, like how can you say that it's, I don't know. I'm torn about it because I'm a big PGA Tour fan. I like following all the athletes, but now it's like I'm torn where I'm either going to, support the best golfers, which a lot of them are now part of Live Golf, or I'm going to support, like, it's just a shitstorm. I don't even know what to think of it, to be honest. Adam, what do you maybe you can clear it up for us, bud? What are you thinking?
I watched the I watched golf last 2 weeks actually, and not and last week, not this past week, but one before it.
Was it the U.S. Open or
the U.S. Open?
Yeah, and that was a hell of an exciting golf tournament. I mean, for me, the majors are what it's all about in golf.
True, that's true. And I think as long as that they let the Live Golf guys, I mean, but
well,
it's still.
I don't know if they're eligible for the Scottish Open anymore, though.
But
for the for the next major, like, I mean, it's because it's kind of torn because the LIV doesn't have like that pedigree yet of like, oh, winning that, like, this tournament means so much.
You. Yeah.
Because I gotta say, like, wow, like how many more people are talking about golf now than they've ever did before.
Look at, I don't know if it's his first year or not, but look at Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, I mean, the way he's tearing up the tour, I mean, I think he's made, like, I think he's definitely top of the money list, but I think he's made like 11 million this year. Like he's top of the money list. Like he's going to pass Tiger for the most amount of money won in one season. But I mean, you look at Dustin Johnson, he's making 200 million.
Exactly, but
playing in 8 tournaments, like a year for the next like 2-3 years, whatever it is.
It's just like when you find a way to get something better to people or more attractive, like you just got to go with it. And I think, unfortunately,
I know like the root of the money. I know there's a lot of controversy with like the human rights issues of Saudi Arabia and whatnot. But I mean, like, I think this is kind of how I've kind of put it in perspective, that let's just say I'm working a job for however much a year. Let's just say it's 60,000 a year. Like, if it's just a small raise, that might not be enough to move the needle. It's like, oh, this is established, like good culture, whatever. But if somebody is offering, if you're making 60,000, somebody is offering you $10 million, like they're offering you like almost 100 times what your wage is. Like it's just so hard to say no to that.
Yeah.
Like what regular person working their job right now, if somebody said they were going to boost their salary by 100 times, like, I mean, it's
you're jumping ship.
Yeah, exactly. you're jumping ship. Like, I mean, and these golfers are humans too. Like, I mean, like we saw like Matthew Wolf that kind of came over and said like it's like yeah, like the PGA. I think the biggest thing that I've learned too is that and I mean this would have been awesome questions to have when we had Brad on. Because I would have really loved his insight on this all. But like, I mean, like starting out on the PGA Tour where you're not guaranteed money, you're not guaranteed a paycheck, you're fighting tooth and nail every single year just to fight for your status every single year. Like there's no such thing as like you do well in your first 4 years of the season, like in hockey or basketball or in sport, and you get an 8-year contract. And if you have if you have a down year, you still get your money in the bank. In golf, no. It's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And players got to do what's best for them and their family. So I mean, I'm not gonna get too bent out of shape over, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I respect the players that decided they wanted to stay. Like I will say, I've been watching more I've always watched the majors in golf, but like I was following along the RBC Canadian Open a bit more, the Travelers Championship a bit more. Man, the way Rory's taken the tournament by storm, being very, very vocal against the LIV. I think it's going to create like a rivalry. I think it's going to be good for the game of golf in general. I think you're just going to you're going to see more of the personality of golf. Like, I mean, like F1 has grown so much ever since the Drive to Survive show. I don't know if you guys follow F1 at all. I follow it a little. You can only follow so many sports. It's so tough. I had this debate with my C2 partner, Craig. So he follows esports and like Korean baseball. And now he's very into the statistical side of baseball. But when we were in Prague rooming together at World Cups, he was watching Korean baseball throughout the whole day and following along, betting on it and everything. And I was like, you know what, like really, like you can only follow so many sports. But like, I mean, Korean baseball, it's really in left field of a league and a sport to follow. But like, I mean, it's like, I think it's good that we're starting to see the personality of the game a bit more. Cause like, I mean, like the storylines that like, I mean, I think I watched more of the Stanley Cup playoffs this year than I did in past years, like the McDavid versus McKinnon storyline. I mean, you had people want to see a bit of drama, like.
Yeah, for sure. It's what makes sports so exciting, right? Is the drama, and you get attached to these athletes, and you truly care about their success, and you want to see them succeed, and you know it makes for some good TV and entertainment when
and people want to see shit happen, like 100%. Plain and simple.
100%.
What I even find that even around here, even at the lowest level. Like not at the lowest level, but even like lacrosse is getting big around here now. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's I mean, this is going to be a hotbed for lacrosse. Like, I mean, with the pro team in now, like I'm so happy that the junior league finally has a men's and female league. Like that was so long overdue for so many years. And I think the female league had like great success in its first year. Like, I mean, there was some talk that like, oh, like there was like some of the teams weren't as even, but I mean, like the men's league, like there was like the men's league has gotten a lot more parity this year, but I mean, like it was Dartmouth winning every single year for like the last like 5 years. And I mean, it was like teams were at the top or the teams at the top and the teams are at the bottom or the teams at the bottom. But I mean, I think that female league is 4 teams now. That's just going to keep growing and growing and growing because it gives the girls a platform that they're going to play in well beyond just like the U16 age group.
Yeah. And the Halifax junior age lacrosse team, since they're called the Hurricanes, I think.
Yeah.
Halifax Hurricanes are undefeated so far.
Oh yeah, I mean they got a hell of a squad. I mean we've faced as coaches against Glenn Holmes when he was the star player for Citadel. I mean he's the star player for that Southwest team. He's always hated playing them in lacrosse because he's pretty good and he plays with a chip on his shoulder. But yeah, he's been lighting up that league. I think he's got like 60 something goals. Like he's hell of a multi-talented athlete. But yeah, I mean the the Southwest was the dominant team for kind of before my days, before I started playing in that league. I mean, I guess I kind of played parts of 3 seasons in that league. I kind of took a 2-year sabbatical for Canada Games and World Cups, but funny enough, I'm probably one of the biggest suitcases that league has ever seen, because I got traded twice within 48 hours in my final year, and I played games for Dartmouth, Mi'kmaq, St. Margaret's, and Sackville. So the only 2 teams I didn't play for was the Hurricanes and then the New Brunswick team.
That's hilarious. I'm a Sackville Wolf over here. No big deal. I think it was I think it was like maybe 2001 when I led our Pee Wee team to an undefeated 17-0 season.
Oh, let's
no
go.
big deal. No big deal, boys. Yeah,
There
I got
you go.
it.
The Wolves heydays.
I know. I packed it in after, I think it was it Bantam? I don't know. I wasn't tough enough for lacrosse anymore. Too big of a sissy. So I didn't make it far in lacrosse, but I did love it when I was younger.
Getting a wooden stick to your chops.
Yeah, repeatedly.
Really makes you think twice whether you want to be in the sport. I mean, I made a pretty tough decision this year when I decided not to play senior, and I mean, like, I kind of pushed that envelope for a long time, being able to like play lacrosse in the middle of paddling season, because it's like, oh, you're playing such an aggressive sport where like broken bones are a real possibility. And I mean, I was playing senior lacrosse last year, leading right up towards nationals. But I mean, with kind of like with World Cups and Worlds being at home, I was like, oh, if I broke my arm playing senior lacrosse this year and wasn't able to compete at Worlds at home, I wouldn't have been able to forgive myself for that. I would have regretted it the rest of my life. And
yeah,
what really sucks is that all my buddies are on my senior lacrosse team. Like some of my best friends, Warner, Mixer, Cole. Like it's tough when you have all your buddies on the same team, and it's like you play on Tuesday, Thursday night. You have a couple beers after the game. Like if you're playing the 7 o'clock game, you watch some of the 9 o'clock one. It's a fun league to play in, but. I was on the bench working the door, watching some of the senior games, and after watching about 15 minutes, I'm like, holy crap, I don't miss being all bruised and banged up like every single. I miss the sport a lot, and I'll definitely play again. But I mean, with paddling the way it is right now for me, I was just like, man, I remember showing up to practice, and I'm like, I got 10 bruises on my forearms. I'm gassed from playing a game till 11 o'clock at night, not getting home till 12. But I mean, it's a growing sport though. The RBC Lacrosse Fest just recently happened. I do want to talk about this before we kind of wrap up, because I think it was a pretty important subject for our platform. It really was focusing on, it was like IDEA stand for inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. But they put on a full event for like newcomer youth, indigenous youth. I know Fun Sports, a great organization. Dave Green, one of the best people I know, runs it. Had one for like BIPOC youth, but I think like lacrosse is going to really become like a very inclusive sport over the next couple of years. And I mean, I am sponsored by RBC, so I do have to kind of actually say that. I can't just give a free promote. There's the whole the whole list of terms and conditions of what you have to do, but on what you can kind of say and promote. But I mean, lacrosse is going to become a huge sport here in Halifax, and I mean, it's really awesome to see, because it's a fun game, and it's also a tenth of the cost of other sports like hockey. And I think now this was a few years ago, cost of everything rose up, but I played my first year, like junior/intermediates. I only paid $150 for the whole lacrosse season.
Wow.
That's yeah, I mean, it's I know it's definitely a bit more expensive now, like, but I mean, if you can play a sport for a couple $100, like, I mean, that's where you're really going to get all the kids kind of involved into it. Like, I mean, the financial barriers of hockey now are insane. Like, I mean, hearing that some of these major midget teams cost north of $12,000 a play, and like minor hockey, like when you factor in the travel and everything's like 5,000, and just it's really tough, because you don't want there to be any barriers to any sport, whether it's financial or accessibility or through inclusion. But I mean, I think lacrosse can have a really good thing going for them.
Well said, Hemi.
Yeah, wow, I really went on a big old spiel there. I kind of tapered, well, went off the line a bit, but I mean that's kind of the best part about our in-house episode.
Oh, yeah.
Really, we can really kind of talk about whatever we want on here.
Absolutely.
But it isn't like half the CPA men's hockey team on the, or a good chunk of the CPA men's hockey team playing for the Sac Wolves right now.
Yeah, they also a bunch of them made
actually.
a bunch of them made the Canada Games team too. So like shout
Yeah,
outs
and
to
I mean,
those. I know
Canada game. So lacrosse has been our national sport. Like, I mean, well, it's been our national sport forever, and then it was like they made it national summer sport. I couldn't believe that lacrosse wasn't in the Canada Games for so long, and there was no reason why not to. Like, I mean, there's 8-9 provinces that go to nationals on a given year. It's crazy that it hasn't been in the Canada Games for so long. Like it might have been like the 70s was the last time I was in. But really excited to follow along our Canada Games team. And I mean, we finally started seeing like lacrosse Nova Scotia teams do well at nationals. Like you're starting to see, I mean, Ontario and BC are on a level of their own. They really are. Like it's, but
it's religion in those provinces, man. Like growing up in BC, like you didn't start playing hockey when you were young. It was lacrosse was the main sport there, right? Like it's a religion. It really is. And
especially on Vancouver Island, like this is one of the craziest things I heard. So when I went to nationals for lacrosse and field in 2014, we had about 60 guys to our tryout, which is a big turnout, especially considering the tournament was in Edmonton that year. But Team BC had over 1,000 kids as a part of their tryout process for the U16 and U19 field teams. And they do like tournaments between like squads, and they do like it's such a huge process. Like man, oh man, like it's so big out there. But I mean, look, Nova Scotia is a small province that's starting to do some big things in lacrosse, which is awesome to see. Like we got Zach Kerrigan, Sackville Wolf, who I think he was second, tied for second for goals in D2 and NCAA this past year. And I mean, like Liam McGraw, he was in the Final Four. He's a Hatchet Lake kid who's playing NCAA D2 lacrosse as well too. And I mean, Jordan McKenna, he's a guy who stepped up, played for the Toronto Rock this year. Alex Pace, second year of the Wings. It's actually funny when during the pandemic season, he was playing in our Nova Scotia Senior League. And it was really funny that he ended up being nominated for there was three of us, me, Connor Aquano, and Connor, who played as CPA. You know Connor, Chris.
Yeah, he's a beauty.
And Alex Pace were the three nominees for Rookie of the Year in the Senior League last year. And I was like, is Alex Pace really considered a rookie if he played a full year of pro in the NLL before playing in our small 4-team senior league? Like, does that really count?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, any final thoughts, boys? I think we're running out of time. I know we had jammed a bunch into tonight's episode. Any final thoughts?
What a great episode, fellas. Like, I mean, we talked about professional, we got the amateur, we got the local stuff. We really checked a lot of boxes in an hour here.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode actually.
Me too.
Well, I always enjoy the presence of you two fine gentlemen. And I mean, for our viewers here, I know we've been a little slow with the episodes in the summer. Just like you guys, we like to enjoy our lives too and do things in the summer. Like we said, we got wedding season, we got golf season. I mean, I'm kind of in the heat of like my paddling competition season. I mean, that doesn't sound as fun as golf and wedding season. I mean, it's fun in its own different way. But we'll do our best throughout the summer to keep giving you guys good content. We got some good guests that we have that we're going to line up that we know you're really going to enjoy. And I mean, now that we're a bit more open as a province here, we're going to do some in-person filming soon. So I mean, we're eventually what we're going to need to do is we're going to need whether it's a bar or whatever it is, we got to find somewhere where we can shoot every now and then, where the three of us can just kind of gather around and a cool spot. And yeah, I mean, somewhere where I don't have a different background everywhere I go. So I mean, Denny, you're definitely you're the stable one at that Bruins flag there. I mean, I always look there and I was like, oh, that's Denny familiar. I really do. I'm in my kitchen right now. I think last time I was moving houses. I've been moving around, but if we can find we'll find a partner somewhere, wherever, maybe somewhere in Bedford. Definitely got to be somewhere accessible for you, Danny, and that we can pick you up and take you there, where we can maybe enjoy some wings, have a beverage, and do what you're doing here.
That sounds good. So thanks everyone for turning in for episode 13 of BHD Sports Podcast. Until next time, we'll see you later.